Hello, hypothetical audience, and welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm JJNW'S Ghost.
I'm Clay.
What's so funny?
I don't know.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking. Anyway, so, Clay, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do?
I'm going to go to Disneyland.
That's right. And you know why we're saying that? Because we saw Pinocchio, the movie where you wish upon a star and your dream comes true, which is always the music they play in those ads for the Super Bowl MVP, unless they don't use the Super Bowl MVP. Because I think with one of the ones with Tom Brady, they did it with Malcolm Butler and Julian Edelman. And when Ray Lewis was the Super Bowl MVP because of the murder charges against him, which he was not convicted of, instead I believe they did it with the quarterback Trent Dilfer. But anyways, that part's not important. What is important? Pinocchio. Clay, start us off. What did you think of old Pinocchio? Number 2 in Operation 59, which will probably soon become Operation 60.
I thought it was a shit movie. I thought it was poorly animated.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucked. All in all, I really liked it.
You know, something I kind of noticed, because I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so there's things I remembered, a lot of things I didn't remember. I thought the nose happened a lot more than just once. I thought that was like a recurring part of his character. Despite it being the most famous part of Pinocchio, except I Want to Be a Real Boy, it literally happens one time in the whole movie. That actually kind of surprised me.
I guess like a brief plot synopsis to the unaware. So you got Geppetto, who's a wood carver, and he makes a little puppet that he calls Pinocchio. And
much to the chagrin of Cleo the fish and Figaro the cat, they're both like, that's not a good name. And he's like, well, let's ask the little puppet. Do you like the name Pinocchio? Nods the head. He's going to be Pinocchio. That's pretty funny.
So that night, there's like a wishing star, and he wishes that he could have a real boy.
Mm-hmm.
He could have a son. And the blue fairy's like, I'll do half. I'll make a boy. So she grants Pinocchio sentience and says, hey, little cricket hobo who's been spending the night here, you will be his conscience to make sure he doesn't do
little cricket horn dog, because as we learned throughout the movie, Jiminy is like constantly looking at women, whether it is the blue fairy who he's like flirting with. There's a part where he's just in Geppetto's workshop looking at stuff, and he's got his hand on this one like doll, and he's like, well, isn't that swell? And it's on the doll's butt, and it's massive for some reason. He's like, oh my. And then when Pinocchio's doing his performance with Stromboli, there's all these female puppets, and then, you know, Jiminy's not looking, and then when he looks and sees the female puppet, he goes, ho, ho! And I think he, like, pulls out some glasses and starts looking. You're like, dang, dude! I did not know that!
I didn't want to know that. But, they're like, you're going to tell him what's right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And if you're a good enough boy, Pinocchio, you'll be a real boy someday. Mm-hmm. So Pinocchio, you know, of course, things are not so simple for poor Pinocchio. Which, I have read the original book, which is, I mean, this movie is kind of notorious for some of its, like, really fucked up scenes, like, Pleasure Island.
We'll get to Pleasure Island.
We'll get to Pleasure Island. But, I mean, the book is far and away worse, because it just doesn't really hold back. Not to mention, like, Pinocchio from the book and Pinocchio in the movie are wildly different characters. Pinocchio in the movie feels like he's doing bad things because he actually doesn't know any better. Mm-hmm. Pinocchio in the books does them because he's a selfish jerk of a kid. He's a brat. And basically the book is one long, like, tale, like, if you don't be a good boy, you'll turn into a jackass and be sent to slavery and all that. You know, it's like a bunch of cautionary tales wrapped up in a book. Very Anvilicious, to use a trope phrase. But here it feels like Pinocchio's genuinely an innocent boy who just kind of gets wrapped up in stuff. Not helped by Jiminy Cricket.
Just be kind of useless, actually. As much as I hate to say it, but
Jiminy doesn't do a whole lot in this movie.
He doesn't do a good job. Okay, he and Geppetto both do a terrible job at the beginning of the movie. So, the movie, you can basically divide into 4 acts. Act 1, the birth of Pinocchio and hanging out in the shop. Act 2, Pinocchio is supposed to go to school, but ends up doing the Stromboli thing. 3 is Pleasure Island. And then 4 is Monstro. First act, it's all fine. The second act, so Pinocchio, he is now... I keep getting around the frame. Pinocchio is supposed to go to school and be a good boy. So Geppetto's like, oh, you have to go to school. Here's your apple for the teacher. Here's your book bag and stuff. And he does not walk his son to school on the first day.
And Jiminy oversleeps.
Now, Pinocchio probably has no idea where school is. And Geppetto, doesn't help matters. And yeah, Jiminy oversleeps and is like, oh man, I'm late on my first day as a conscience. Boy, but nothing terrible could have happened. And meanwhile, in between him waking up and Pinocchio leaving, he runs into Honest John and Gideon, who Shanghai him to becoming an actor. And Pinocchio's like, but I gotta go to school, but I gotta go to school, but I gotta go to school. Okay, because they kind of kidnap him?
Yeah, it
is
unlike in the book.
To Pleasure Island, they straight up kidnap him.
Yeah, unlike in the book where Pinocchio's like, sure, I'll do it. It's more like Pinocchio's, but he doesn't have the spine to say no.
Yeah.
And then of course later on, it doesn't really matter because they just straight up kidnap the poor kid. But that is a big difference. That's part of Pinocchio's innocence, is that he doesn't agree to any of this. Mm-hmm. In the books, he does. He's like, Pleasure Island? Sounds great. Can't wait to go. Fuck school. So you get to Stromboli, and of course you get the I got no strings to hold me down. Dun, da, 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 da.
And a Jiminy's Peep Show. What was going on? And then you have Stromboli, who talks super fast, and at times he's just speaking Italian. I have no idea what he's saying.
I don't even think he's speaking Italian. I think he's just speaking gibberish, dude. But another big...
And Constantinople.
A surprising difference from the book and the movie is that in the book, Stromboli is actually a lot nicer. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take you and make you famous. But as soon as Geppetto shows up, and it's like, that's my son, Stromboli's like, you right, hands Pinocchio back, gives some of the actual money that Pinocchio earned to Geppetto to help him out, and then goes on his way. Here he's like, what's that? You want to go home to your dad?
Well, here's a birdcage!
And once you're old and I can't use you anymore, I'll make you into firewood. And he throws it and, cleaves, an old puppet in half. And it's like, man, for Pinocchio, that must be fucked up. Imagine if you were a person and you just saw some dude
it is hard for me to imagine that I am a person.
Damn it. Well, imagine you're in Pinocchio's situation, and the dude just, cleaves, another, guy in half, just to make a point. It's like, but then the Blue Fairy's like, alright, I'll help you out this once.
Everybody gets one.
And
that's also the nose scene. She's like, what happened here, Pinocchio? There were monsters!
And they kidnapped me. They put me in a giant sack.
Yeah. Yeah, then Jiminy's like, don't put my name in this. Oh yeah, Jiminy was also in a sack. Yeah, then birds manifest on his nose.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like, did Pinocchio just create life for a second? Naughty.
Man, lion birds are... You don't understand how dangerous lying birds are, though.
I saw they was some birds and they flew.
Anyway,
so then Pleasure Island, where he gets kidnapped, and you have the coachman who's...
They'll never return as boys!
And he has this demonic face.
I kind of forgot about that part, so when it happened, I actually, jumped back.
Yeah, I noticed.
And, Honest John and Gideon are,
actually kind of spooked.
They're like, maybe we shouldn't do this. Next scene, okay, we're going to do this.
We're still going to get money out of it.
Yeah, you got to get money. Oh, yeah, there's another thing. They're like, the guy's like, hey, the coachman's like, hey, Honest John, I got a way for you to make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, and he's like, so who do we have to, We're like, oh, yeah, they have no scruples of any... Princess, you need to stop talking. So, nope. How about you go? You've already been outside.
She wants to join with the conversation. What did you think of the movie? What did you think of the movie, Princess, huh?
She's mad because she can't eat the movie.
Yeah. So, Pleasure Island, where, you make a jackass out of yourself.
That's a fun scene. Although, the part in that scene that is hilarious is when Lampwick starts turning into a donkey, and so he first gets the ears, and Pinocchio just looks at his drink, looks back, puts it away. Then he starts smoking a cigar, Lamp Boy like gets a tail, looks at the cigar, and just puts it away. Like, that was really funny.
Well, at least he's intelligent enough to put 2 and 2 together.
He's just, yo, these edibles ain't shit.
Yeah. But yeah, hi, Princess. But yeah, like, that is such... That is such a, like, messed up scene, man. Like, it's impressive.
Oh yeah, and there's also the fact that the coachman's like carriage is being driven by donkeys. So you know, like these
that's a little detail that you probably don't really notice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's so bad. But I mean, I guess it's better than going to the salt mines.
And then there's that one donkey who could still talk. He's like, I want my mom. He's like, this one could still talk. Yeah. And it just like tosses him in a pin with others. It's like, yeah, stay there until they're good and ready. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, like those other kids don't get saved. They don't. Just Pinocchio and Jiminy just GTFO.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's the iconic scene of the movie, but for me, it's the most standout.
I feel like it is. At least, like, it's definitely up there.
And then
we get to Monstro, where all the fish in the ocean and all the seahorses and everything, at the sound of its name, are just terrified. Like, they're talking about Voldemort.
It ain't no fucking whale I've ever heard of. Like, it's got, like, teeth. It eats, like, fish. It's pissed off.
It's so aggressive. You know?
And it was scary. Like, one thing that I really like about Monstro to kind of, like, show just how titanic it is that in a lot of shots, it's actually, like...
Drawn as a background?
Drawn as a static background thing, because it's just this behemoth.
Yeah.
Which I guess goes into, like, kind of translate into the... transfer into the animation. So, like we said, it's Snow White. Snow White has a lot of, like, tricks and, like, shots that I was really impressed by, because I'm like, they actually were able to do this and thought up of this stuff back in the 1930s. And here, you don't see a lot of really clever shots. Like, there's some, like, when they're zooming into Geppetto's workshop, and it slowly goes from, like a static background to, like, the windows now showing a different layer, which is the inside of the workshop, as it's slowly zooming in.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, you were like, oh, there's Walt Disney flexing again.
Yeah, it was honestly really impressive. And there's a lot of shots in this movie that feel like they are there to be, like, just...
Like the birds?
Like the birds, the clocks, you know, all the different stuff that clocks do.
I actually really liked a lot of the clocks.
The water effects at the end of the movie.
Yeah, those are really good.
Just... Again, it's Disney, so it's one of those things where it's like with Pixar. It's like, of course it looks good. It's a Disney movie. Which, of course, unlike Pixar, is not a given because, you know...
Because Chicken Little happens.
But this is a movie that genuinely, like I said with Snow White, I think Snow White is a fine museum piece. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a good movie, I find, but it is something that I can respect for what it does. This, to me, is the first proper Disney movie where it's like everything comes together as this really tight package. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. The story is well-paced, well-structured. I like these characters. You know,
even if Jiminy's a little useless.
Jiminy's a little useless, but he's still so charming. Like you were saying, like when Geppetto's like dancing with Pinocchio before he becomes a...
Yeah, it was just like, this is so charming and likable.
It's very charming and likable. And it just all comes together as a very entertaining, well-done package. And of course, it does have basically Walt Disney's theme.
Yes.
This is really the start of Disney, I think. And I mean... It made a lot of money, because when I was looking it up on Wikipedia...
He said it was like a budget of $2 million, $4 million. It made like $100 million back in 1940.
It was like $2.3 million in 1940 exactly, and it made like $168 million. That kind of increase in budget is absolute insanity, because it's like, if you think about it...
Which you can tell with the next movie, which we haven't watched yet as part of this, but it's Fantasia, and Fantasia is wild.
And the other thing... Oh, I'm so excited. The other thing, I feel like we're going to have to bring this up later, but this feels like a work of passion. You know, it feels like with Snow White, another thing that I didn't really bring up, but it feels like they put their hearts into this movie. And it feels the same way here. They cared about this product. And I feel like that's something I'm going to have to bring up at some point is when Disney stopped caring. To quote Epic Rap Battles, you know, manufacturing, assembly line whimsy. You know, and there's a point where Disney, I feel, kind of loses their heart and just starts.
Are we just gonna make fun of Chicken Little and everything, you know, until Chicken Little happens?
Well, that's the thing.
Because I know you're thinking of Chicken Little. You might be thinking of other ones too.
I'm thinking of other things, honestly. It feels like it feels like with Disney there are gaps where they enter kind of a slump phase where they kind of lose their passion, lose their art, whether it's because the people who were working on the previous movies got fired or they don't care anymore. And then they kind of get their act back together. It's like, this is the start of Disney. These are the young, bright-eyed, you know, animators who want to, like, make works of art. Then you're going to enter kind of a slump phase. Then you're going to get to the Renaissance. Kind of or there's going to be, like, their live-action phase was a slump phase. Then they went back to animation. They slowly built it back up to the Renaissance. Which I feel all have a ton of passion put into them. Then there's another slump, and then there's the 3D Renaissance, which, I mean, we'll get to my thoughts on the 3D Renaissance when we actually get to them, like, who knows how long.
January?
Yeah. But overall, if I were to rank this movie...
Oh, yeah, that's right, because we decided we wanted to, instead of going, like, here's the list from 1 to 59, later 60... to put them into like a tier list. So A through D with an S tier and an F tier as well.
Yes. And if
so start with Snow White. So your ranking of Snow White and then your ranking of Pinocchio.
I put Snow White in the C tier.
Yes.
Because
now explain why you put Disney's magnum opus. I know you might ask.
If it was his magnum if his first work was a magnum opus, that's pretty sad.
I mean, it worked for J.D. Salinger.
Fair point. Again, I feel like while the art is still pretty good and it has a lot of really good and clever moments, the story really falters and doesn't make up for it. And so it feels like it's aged. Like if you made Snow White today, people would think it probably sucked. Like it probably sucks because of just the lack of story, the just how it feels most of the time. So it's like, it's something I respect. So that's why it's a C tier and not like a D tier. Because if I was judging it on its qualities as a movie and not its history, it would be a bad movie.
Oh gosh, that's so hard.
I know.
But Pinocchio,
on the other hand, is an incredibly entertaining movie. The animation is absolutely spot on. It aged extraordinarily well. And the storytelling is really good. I don't think it's up to the standards we'll see in later Disney movies, but it's something that kept me entertained and engaged throughout, which is something I can't really say of Snow White. So I would put it in the B tier.
Okay. So for me, Snow White, I agree with you on C tier just in terms of my enjoyment of the movie, because I felt like there were a lot of times in the movie where it just kind of lulled. And I was just kind of thinking, it's like, wait, this is only an hour? But I feel like I've been here for like 2 hours. What do you mean it's only been 20 minutes? It was kind of this weird, like, time chamber. But it's so impressive that what they were able to do in 1937. And it is like, I know you were saying that, like, Pinocchio feels like the first real, like, Disney movie. But without Snow White, we would not have the other 58, soon to be 59 other films. And, that's not including, like, all the sequels and stuff that we may or may not watch depending on... we might watch Bambi 2! Bambi 2 was good!
Okay, if we're... The Disney sequels, I think they have to be their own thing.
Yeah.
And then we just have a tier list of F, D, and C, because I don't...
Hey. Bambi 2 is really good. And I really like Lion King, too.
And the Cinderella sequels are actually surprisingly good.
I've heard really good things about 3. But anyway, I feel like for me... Snow White is like an honorary S tier because of its legacy, but in terms of my enjoyment, it is a C tier. I agree. I also kind of put Pinocchio in B tier. I think it is a very good film. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's a movie that I would really be like really wanting to watch again anytime soon. To me, I think that's what really makes something an A or an S tier. But I enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched it, and it's good. It's good.
It's good.
So next is gonna be Fantasia, which you still haven't seen, right? You said you haven't seen the whole thing.
Yeah, I've never seen the whole thing all the way through. We started watching it last year.
Yeah, there's sometime last year, but it was super late, and we ended up falling asleep. It was like 3 in the morning.
And we never finished it.
So I am excited to do Fantasia, and we will see y'all there.